What is going on? This is Cody, and you are tuned into B-Boy 45, broadcasting from the Seacrest Studios here at Children's Hospital, Colorado. And I have a very, very special treat for you today. It's another edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, who's on the line with us today?
Ronen Rubinstein.
Woo! Welcome! How are you today?
I'm so good. I like the applause effect. That was very cool.
You didn't expect for 100 kids to be clapping for you right then, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah, but it definitely happened. So, all right, Maya, take it away. It is your show, girl.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for calling in. I am so excited to be talking to you.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
So my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to be an actor?
High school, towards the end of junior year, I had a very, very wonderful guidance counselor who sort of pushed me towards theater. I did my first play that year, and I sort of caught the bug, and I fell in love with it. And being on stage in front of all those people, and learning lines and rehearsal and acting with other people, I just immediately fell in love. And then that following summer, in between junior year and senior year, I was able to do my first movie called It Felt Like Love. And then by the time I got out of high school, to everybody's surprise, it got into Sundance. So my sort of life and career changed immediately. And I was, I guess I was thrown into it pretty quickly. So yeah, I knew pretty quick that this is what I wanted to do.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you were in the series Dead of Summer, which I loved.
Oh, cool.
What drew you to that show?
Honestly, I it was just a basic audition, and I knew that it was the writers of Once Upon a Time, so I knew that it was going to be a really special and magical show. They also wrote on Lost, which was one of my favorite shows of all time. And the story was really interesting, and it was 1980s camp. And, I grew up going to camps in the summer, and I love, supernatural and horror stuff. So it had all of that combined. We had Elizabeth Mitchell on the show, who's such a legend. So I was very lucky to get the part. And it was one of my favorite experiences so far. I got to be in Vancouver for nearly 7 months. It was my first time shooting in a different country for a film or a TV show. I got to meet one of my closest friends in the whole world there, Alberto Frezza. And it was just a magical experience. And even though it only lasted one season, I cherish so many moments from that experience.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Were any of the scenes ever creepy to film?
Most of the time it's not, but there was definitely some moments because, we were out in the woods in Vancouver, and a lot of the days we were shooting were at nighttime, and I guess in the woods at night, it does kind of get pretty spooky, even though, it's not real. But sometimes, you'll hear something or you see something, and it could literally be a crew member walking out of the woods, and you're like, oh my God. So, sometimes it get a little spooky, but otherwise we were just having a lot of fun and a lot of giggling, and it was just a really fun experience. The whole cast got really, really close. So it was like shooting with your close friends. So it was just really, really fun.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember when it when the first episode premiered, I watched it with my mom, and then the next day literally the next day I was going to camp, and it was in the woods.
Oh, no.
And so afterwards I was like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, the pilot was pretty spooky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably stay home also.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part of playing TK on 911 Lone Star?
I think just the fact that he's a genuinely really good person, and his sort of objective as a character is to help and protect others. And, we've seen all different variations of that. A lot of the times he puts himself in danger in order to save somebody else. And, as we've seen, that's landed him in the hospital a bunch of times, and, a couple of comas now. And it's, he takes that ultimate risk in order to save other people. And I think he's just, a true meaning of a hero and a very heroic character. And, we're also portraying first responders, and I think they are the real life superheroes. And I think the fact that we could show them in such a beautiful, positive light, and, they really are there at our worst moments. So it's really, really beautiful that we get to portray them, and to highlight how important they are in real life. And I love TK. He's definitely my favorite character I've played ever. And I'm looking forward to what we have in store for him, because it's going to be pretty epic.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So what is the biggest challenge of playing him?
TK definitely has some pretty challenging emotional storylines. I've been able to talk more about this upcoming episode 8, which airs not this Monday, but the following Monday, February 28th. That's definitely the most difficult emotional stuff that we're going to see from TK. And for me personally, as an actor, it was definitely the most difficult to play, I would say, in my entire career. The writers really gave me an incredible episode to really stretch my acting muscles. And I'm so grateful for that episode. There's a lot. TK is a very complicated character.
So you recently released your first single with your band Nights in Stereo.
Yeah.
Which I love that song. I have it on a loop.
Maya, thank you.
Yeah. So I was wondering, what is your songwriting process like?
Good question. And thank you so much for listening. I'm so excited about releasing music. The writing process so far has been pretty interesting. My bandmates, Rodrigo and Johnny, will have sort of a rough idea of what the song will sound like musically. And then I'll either listen to it with them in the studio, and lyrics will sort of start flowing out, and I'll start having ideas of certain melodies, and not necessarily words will come out, but sort of sounds. That's sort of my process of finding lyrics. Or sometimes, like with Open Door specifically, lyrics came out instantly. Like I knew immediately, you find an open door. What are you waiting for? That sort of came out almost immediately. So I was like, oh, I think we have something here. And then sort of go off of that. And then other times with other songs that we're working on, they'll send me the song and I'll listen to it at home or in the car. And a lot of the lyrics I've come up with in the car, which is kind of fun. And then I'll send them a voice memo and be like, what do you guys think about this? And then they'll be like, this is so cool. I can't wait to get in the studio. And then we sort of combine our ideas together and then finalize everything in the studio. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What is the meaning behind the band's name?
Another really good question. I feel like a lot of the time when we make music or we listen to music, it's at nighttime. And, in stereo means like two things happening at once, which is kind of a beautiful metaphor for our songwriting process and sort of how we met as a band. Like John and Rodrigo have been friends for a very long time, and the two of them have been sort of writing music for a while, and then me and John became friends a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and then we sort of started messing around, and it's always been in sort of twos. Everything's been happening in twos, and then we finally combined all of our ideas to make this three-piece band. But it's sort of just a metaphor for how we met, how we write music, when we listen to music, when we write music, and I think it's just it sounds really nice, and it looks really cool, especially with sort of the font that we've been playing around on our single art. So yeah, it's just and also, not for nothing, but it was a name that wasn't taken, and it's really hard to find a band name that has not been used before. So we were very lucky that we could have a band name that hasn't been used before.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So who are your musical inspirations?
I think first and foremost, Kings of Leon. I think a lot of people are starting to hear parts of Kings of Leon in our song, which makes me so happy. I've been listening to Kings of Leon since like 2004, and they came out in 2003. So Kings of Leon have been a part of my life for a very long time. And then we have different musical inspirations from my bandmates. They'll take from influences that I've never heard of, and then they've taught me about some music. I kind of put them on Kings of Leon because they've never really listened to them in depth. And then, I think lyrically, I have really strange inspirations. I have people like Chet Baker, which is, classic jazz from the 50s all the way to, Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or, I'm wearing him right now, Mac Miller. There's some musical aspects of his lyrics and his melodies that I pull from. So it's sort of all over the place. And I think that's what makes our band so special, is that, we have inspirations and influences from everywhere and all different eras and decades and musical genres. And it's a really interesting way for us to sort of learn more about music through the process of making music, which I think is really cool.
Oh, cool. So out of all the projects that you've worked on, is there one that's had a big impact on you personally, and then also one that's had a big impact on you professionally?
Yeah, I mean, I think each project, throughout the years has led to the next big thing. And, I'm very grateful every single one, because it's sort of like a chain reaction. I always go back to It Felt Like Love, which I did when I was 19. And it was this tiny independent film in New York that nobody thought was going to do anything. And then it went to Sundance. And then all of a sudden, a lot of doors opened up that I'd never expected to happen that quickly. And then, I was super grateful to be a part of Orange is the New Black when I was younger, which was such an iconic show and sort of was the beginning of Netflix and this whole thing that we know now as binge watching. So those two I cherish because it happened at such a young age. And it was my first sort of opportunity of seeing like that this is very this is very real, and it could happen. But then, I think the biggest one for me is Lone Star, number one Lone Star. I think it's just it's like winning the lottery. It sort of checks off all the boxes, it's such an important show because of the stories that we're telling, the characters that we're showing, the actors that get an opportunity to be in the show. Our creators, Ryan Murphy, it's a massive network. Millions of people watch it every week. And I think most importantly, it's the stories that we're telling. And TK has had a very drastic effect on my life personally. Last year I felt confident and comfortable enough to come out as bisexual. And, it was a big part of it was because of the community that I was in with Lone Star and the people that I was surrounded by. And, a lot of the fans are part of the LGBTQ community. And, I just finally felt safe and comfortable in my life to finally, share my story with people and share my truth with people. So yeah, Lone Star has had massive effects on my life and on my career. And I'm just so, so, so grateful for it.
Oh, I love that. So what is your most played song on your playlist?
Well, as of the last 2.5 weeks, it's my song, Open Door. But probably something by Kings of Leon. I'm still very much obsessed with their newest album, which came out last year. That it's just so, so special. It probably would be the song Time in the Skies from the newest album. I can listen to that song a few times a day for sure. So yeah, probably that.
Oh, cool. So what is your go-to show or movie when you need a pick-me-up?
Oof, man. So the movie's not very PG rated, but so I don't recommend to watch it without parental guidance. But I love the movie Fight Club, which is an older film with Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, directed by David Fincher. I think I've seen this movie maybe 100 times, and I sort of have this ritual of watching it before I start a new job, and it sort of gets me like really excited about being an actor and making either television or film. So yeah, definitely Fight Club. It's not the happiest movie, but it makes me feel good. It makes me get excited about what I'm doing. So yeah.
Oh, cool. So is there a line from a movie, song, show, or book that stuck with you or inspires you?
Yeah, actually. There's a song by Kings of Leon called The Immortals. And the chorus is really beautiful. And I would highly recommend to look it up. It's an incredible song as well. But the chorus is sort of a really beautiful metaphor of, appreciating life, knowing who you are, loving what you do. Yeah, it's stuck with me forever. And it's just a really beautiful sort of metaphor of I guess, how I lead my life and, whether it's relationships or your job or et cetera. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's really beautiful.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I will look that up right after the interview. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Oh, man. I think my real life superhero for the longest time since I was a kid was Kobe Bryant. he inspired me in so many ways ever since I was little. And I didn't realize how crucial his influence was for me until I got older and was able to apply a lot of that stuff to my work, to my life, to my relationships with certain people like that. You know, even if you never meet them, they have such a drastic effect on your life, and it almost feels like family. And you know, I've been idolizing him since I was like 6 years old, so he's been there pretty much the whole time. So yeah, definitely Kobe. But you know, I cherish everything I've learned from him every day and try to apply that to my work and to my life every day. His big thing is just be better every day, even if it's, you know, 1%. Just always strive to be better and to be a better person. And I think a lot of us could take from that. Yeah, it's really, I think, a really important sort of message.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally understand what you're saying, like with not knowing someone, but them having such this huge impact on your life. Like there are some people that I definitely feel that with too. So
yeah, it's pretty special when you can have that connection with someone.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I've had so much fun talking to you. So
my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Ronen, thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing. And I know that Maya will keep us updated on where we can always find you, the music, the movies, the shows, all of the above. So we definitely appreciate that and look forward to following you as you continue to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Maya, that was another fun one.
Yeah.
Every time you do one of these interviews, then I think I need to go watch that show. And it just happened again. Well, that was another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. And it brings us to the end of our day here at the Seacrest studio. And we'll be back tomorrow with a lot more fun. So stay tuned for that. And Maya, we'll see you next week, right? On Monday?
Yes.
All right. Well, then we'll talk to you later. And to all you guys upstairs, here's some more music. We'll talk to you later, too. Bye-bye.